for some reason, she had it out for me. Hey guys, welcome back to the Girl Gone London channel. If you're new here, my name is Kaylin. I don't usually film on the floor. I'm an American and UK dual citizen, and in this video, I'm telling you why I'm on the floor and also some other things that you didn't know about me. Okay, so this is going to be a real talk video because I had grand plans for the channel this week, and multiple things were going on, and now I'm on the floor, which I will explain. But before I get into it, I wanted to give a special shout out to somebody. His name is James. James, you know who you are. James is the first person that has recognized me out in public from being a subscriber on the channel. So I met him a couple days ago and I said, I'll give you a shout out because it was really fun to meet him. And I was texting my family and friends the whole rest of the day saying, oh my gosh, can you believe someone recognized me from the channel? Because, you know, there's a lot of people in the UK and 13-something thousand of you on here, which is a number that is kind of crazy to me when I think of that many people in one place, but still compared to the population of the UK, not that much. So the fact that I was I say out in public like I'm some celebrity. I was living my life randomly and James recognized me. So if anybody else randomly sees me out in public, come say hi. It was really fun to meet James, and I hope your car buying went well. So in this video, like I said, grand plans. We had grand plans. But various things were happening this week. And then all of a sudden, I had intense back pain from putting on my shoe. And that basically rendered me on the floor for like a solid couple hours where I genuinely couldn't move. I do know what it is, probably. I will go to a physio, so I don't necessarily need your medical advice because I'm a little bit of a hypochondriac. So if you have any tips for like good stretches or exercises, I will explain in the first part of my list. So that's why I'm on the floor. Sitting up can happen, but it's a little bit painful. So this is what we're doing. Okay, so let's jump into this list of things that you didn't know about me, or probably didn't know about me, though you may have known some of these if you're part of my Patreon community, because we get together every Thursday night and have a live stream. So if you want to be a part of a community, it's really, really nice and friendly. And you are more than welcome to hop on over there and then see the other content that I do on live streams. So I'll put the link below. The number one thing that you didn't know about me is that when I was 16 or 17, I was diagnosed with something called spondylolisthesis. This is basically where one of the vertebrae in your spine are out of alignment. It's not going to go back into alignment. It could be it's just something that gradually happened over time. It could be you had some sort of fall and that did it. But basically when I was in high school, I started having a lot of trouble like rolling over and sitting down and standing up. Like my back would just be in such pain. And obviously I was 16 or 17, so it was unusual. So that is something that I did physical therapy for a little while back in the day. It's flared up over the years. I can mostly like function just fine, except for a couple years ago, I had the same exact incident that happened to me the other day, where all of a sudden I was doing nothing. I think I was just like boiling pasta, and I felt this, I turned the wrong way and I felt this searing pain in my back, and I was basically flat out for a couple days. I did go to the A&E because it was so painful, and they checked for the very, very serious signs. I didn't have those, you know, I could still control myself even though I couldn't move. And they just sent me home with painkillers and stuff, but I will go back. So again, I don't need your medical advice if you think something terrible is wrong with me, because I will go get checked out again. But basically what I think it is a combination of some sort of like trapped nerve or something to do with my discs, and my back is already messed up from spondylolisthesis. Say that 10 times fast. And it must be some sort of nerve entrapment, because when it's happened both times, I was genuinely in so much pain for the first at least couple hours that if, I said this on my live the other day, but if a murderer was coming into my house, I genuinely could not run away. Now I could run away. I'm filming on the floor because it's more comfortable, but I could book it out if I really needed to. When it first started, I could not do a single thing without, like, I could not have done it. Could not have moved even if my life depended on it. So that's the first thing you didn't know about me and why we are where we are today on my floor, which also, I typically show up on YouTube, like, I'm not a girl to get super makeup heavy or like wear blingy clothes or anything, but typically I put on like a real shirt and do something. We're not doing that today. This is just, there's a sock over there. I don't know, some paperwork under there. This is real life. Okay. Now let's run through these next things that you didn't know about me. Number 2 is when I was in high school and middle school, I think I was a figure skater. And I say this, I say I was a figure skater, which means I participated in the sport of figure skating. I wasn't good. I did enjoy it a lot, but I wasn't good. And they do have figure skating in Florida. We have plenty of rinks around. So we had an Olympic size rink near me. And I did that for, probably like 4 to 5 years, did some competitions. Again, I wasn't good. But I do still own my skates, which are back there. And the reason they're back there is because I'm thinking of just doing it as, very recreationally, maybe at a local rink, to just kind of glide around a little bit, see if I still can. But obviously my back right now means no. Number 3, I hate mushrooms. I eat mostly vegetarian, but I hate mushrooms. And I hate how every single vegetarian menu, it seems, they always think vegetarians love mushrooms. Always. It's like mushroom pasta, mushroom risotto, like mushrooms are just some sort of key I'm like, there are a lot of other vegetables. So if you're also eat mostly vegetarian and hate mushrooms, you'll know my plight. I just don't like the texture. The taste is not good to me either, but the texture is really, I'm not a fan. Okay, number 4. We're getting real specific here. Back in the day, I think I was in 9th grade, we had to write what we called like a technical paper, an essay on some sort of science-based thing. I'm not great at science or technology, but I decided to steer clear of kind of more complicated things. And instead, I don't even know how, I guess this was related to like advancements in science, but I wrote about the future of 3D printing. Back in the day, 3D printing was kind of a novelty. It was this like up and coming thing, but not really a thing. And it was like, are we going to 3D print our food to eat? And so I wrote this essay that won a technical paper contest about the future of 3D printing. And wouldn't you know it, 3D printing took off. So I would like to take responsibility for my contributions to the scientific community on that one. The next thing you didn't know about me was, despite growing up in America, the first time that I'd ever gone further west than Texas that I remember as a child or adult that has a memory was last year when we went to California. I had been to California when I was 6 months old. I don't think that counts. I don't remember it, but there are pictures. But the first time that I remember ever going further west than Texas, about the middle of the country, was last year. So that took me almost 30 years. So I guess that shows you how big America is. I've traveled up the East Coast a lot and Texas and the South, but the West Coast was a whole new world to me. Okay, number 6. My ancestry is German. And the reason that that side of the family came over to the US, which was it wasn't my grandfather, but it was his family and his parents. They came over because they were convinced by or were Mormon missionaries. So Mormon missionaries went to Germany and my grandfather's family converted to Mormonism and decided that they were going to move to Salt Lake City, Utah. My grandfather was not Mormon and my family now is not Mormon. This was kind of something that I didn't know until the past couple years. But that is the reason for one side of my family coming to the US was Mormonism. Okay, the next thing that you didn't know about me, I have my list here. This is what I'm looking at. The next thing you didn't know about me, you maybe knew this, but I think most people won't. For university, yes, I studied abroad in London a lot, but that's not where my degree is from. I graduated from and went to the University of Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania. I went to the University of Pittsburgh because I was on a full scholarship, so ding, 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 yes, please. I wanted to get out of Florida, which in hindsight, all I want to do now is like bask in the rays of Florida. But at the time I wanted to get out. And I had heard that Pittsburgh was actually a nice city despite having industrial history and kind of people thought it was dirty and smoggy. I can confirm Pittsburgh is a very nice city. The kind of grit of the industrial era is really no longer prevalent in the city. What remains are, some industrial buildings and some like cool bridges, but Pittsburgh is a very nice city. I ended up moving to London because I thought London was far more exciting than Pittsburgh, which I hold to, but I still think Pittsburgh was a very nice city and I really had a good time during my undergrad years that I did spend there. Okay, the next thing on my list is I have glasses. So this is one of the pairs. Let's see. Here we go. This is me. I haven't worn these in a really long time because I initially got them because I couldn't see the board in school and also driving. So I must have been like 17 when I got them. And I suddenly realized like everybody else could see the math problems on the board, but I couldn't. But I don't have major issues with my vision. So it was literally more for seeing problems on the board. And if I'm driving at night, it's like everything is pretty blurry if I don't have these on, but I don't have such a high prescription that I consider myself someone who wears glasses because I do not really ever wear them except if I went to a concert, I might wear them so that I could see far away better. And if I'm driving, that's basically it. I can still my vision is good enough that I can recognize people's faces. I don't wear contacts and then switch into my glasses at night. I mostly don't wear them, but I do have them for when I need them. Okay, next thing, number 9. All I want to eat all of the time is pasta. You know the question you say when you say, what food would you eat if you could only eat one type of food? My hair, you guys. Also, in another video, we're going to discuss your solutions for hard water on my hair because my hair reacts much differently in Southeast England than it does when I'm in a lot of other countries. And I'm not a fan. So anyway, where was I? All I want to eat is pasta all the time. If I had to pick one food that I had to live with forever, it would be pasta. I'm not necessarily a big fan of penne. I think penne, but like spaghetti, linguine, angel hair pasta, rotini. I love pasta. I genuinely would just eat pasta all the time if I could. Oh, unfortunately, I don't. But I should probably eat less pasta, but I love pasta. Okay, number 10. I don't really like fluffy clothes. So here in the UK, it's very common for people to really want to embrace like fluffy clothes and bundling up. Slippers are very common here, fluffy socks, what they call dressing gowns, like a fluffy dressing gown, because it can be cold and damp in this climate and people want to stay warm and cozy. I'm sort of adopting I have one pair of like fluffy socks that I'll wear, but for the most part, I don't like fluffy clothes. I don't like fluffy things. And I think it's because growing up in Florida, this was just like, Florida's not a cozy state. You don't need to bundle up. My life was mostly flip-flops and shorts and tank tops. So it feels kind of restricting to have like fluffy clothes on me. That's where we're at with that. I wrote I don't like fluffy things. So that's just it. So you can have your fluffy jumpers and your slippers and your dressing gowns, and I don't really like them. Okay, let's run through the next couple things. Number 11, I love home and garden shows. Anything about home and garden, HGTV in the US, Homes Under the Hammer. I love it. I love putting it on in the background. I love watching it to actually watch it. I love home and garden shows. The next thing is I used to love planning my own birthday parties. Like as a small child, my parents would have done it for me, but I had my mom take me to the library and I would check out the child party planning books from the adult section. Like it wasn't like a kid's book on how to plan your own party. It was an adult book on planning a children's birthday party. And I just used to love it. I had an Olympics themed birthday party. I had a detective birthday party. I had like a craft birthday party. And I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. So yeah, I was this strange 7-year-old who like had plans, mock-ups, and a whole strategy for my birthday party. Okay, the next thing is, you'll know this if you're part of my Patreon community, the rest of you won't, so I'm letting you in on a secret. Last month, I went to the Bahamas for my birthday, which was planned by my husband, not me, and it was the best birthday ever. The Bahamas were beautiful and warm and wonderful, and I'd love to go back. So yeah, I was recently in the Bahamas and it was a good time. I would recommend. We were on the island of Grand Bahama. Let me tell you, in February in the UK, being in Grand Bahama for a week is definitely the sunshine that I needed. Okay, the next thing is a little tiny story time about what happened to me in the 2nd grade. I will save her last name from the internet, but her name was Kamari, and she was in my 2nd grade class. And for some reason, she had it out for me. I was admittedly a goody two-shoes, but I was a teacher's pet on accident, but I was not one of those annoying goody two-shoes, if that makes sense. I kept to myself. I did my own thing. I was not constantly raising my hand. I just followed the rules, was terrified of getting in trouble, and did all the right things. I don't know why I'm defending my 2nd grade self to you, but there it is. So we had a book that if you did something wrong and got in trouble, you had to write your name in and you had to write what it was for. And I think they use this at teacher-parent conferences. So my friend who did do something wrong had to go write his name in this book. And he came back and he was like, "Did you know your name is in there?" And I was like, "What? What? I've never been in trouble. Like, how is my name in this book?" In a 2nd grade way. Turned out this girl had gotten in trouble, but instead of going and writing her own name down with what she did wrong, she framed me and wrote down my name and what she did wrong. So I guess she thought that the teacher would think when it comes to parent-teacher conferences that I had done something wrong. Of course, this was in her second grade mind, and the teacher could tell, obviously she knew who had been in trouble and who hadn't, and her handwriting was nothing like mine. But I still remember to this day feeling like I was in some sort of like soap opera or like Game of Thrones episode where this girl was trying to take me down, and it was this whole ordeal. And then I think she had to apologize to me, and I didn't. Here's the thing. It was like I didn't even do anything, and then she had to apologize to me, but I didn't even do anything to prompt her doing this to me. So now I'm the annoying goody two-shoes where they're like, oh, Kaylin didn't do anything wrong. Like, you framed her. You need to apologize. And I'm like, keep your drama to yourself. I'm just over here trying to live my best second grade life and not get in trouble and learn some stuff. So that story you definitely did not know about me. Okay, the next thing is I love Asda's veggie burgers. Shout out below if you love Asda veggie burgers or the veggie sticks. I actually prefer the veggie sticks because they don't attempt to be meat. They are clearly vegetables in a crumb coating. Delicious. Any vegetarian meat, I can't do. I had a vegetarian burger at a pub once, and when you opened it up, I think it was beetroot juice, but it was basically bloody. I'm sorry, but as a mostly vegetarian, I don't want my meat, like I don't eat meat because of the texture and the taste to me, and it just kind of repulses me. It's not necessarily out of like, I do care about animals, but it's mostly like my own selfish reasons. I don't want my veggie burger to have fake blood in it. I don't know if that's a hot take, but that's just how I feel. Okay, getting to the end of my list. Next thing was when I lived in central London. Well, I guess one of them isn't super central, but when I lived in the area around central London, I lived in Camden, Bloomsbury, Kensington, and East Acton. If you know London, I think you'll be able to tell which ones I stayed in while I was a student on a study abroad programs and where I stayed when I actually had to pay for myself in a house share. Number 17 on my list is I have seen more shuttle launches than I can count. Not necessarily going to Cape Canaveral and seeing them like live in person, but in Florida, in central Florida, you could see back in the day, you can still see rocket launches, but when the shuttle program was around, you could see the shuttle launching from your front yard or backyard or wherever your house faced. But it was very, very common for us to be able to know a shuttle was going up that day, head outside, watch it take off. And that's something that I really took for granted growing up, to be that close to NASA and the shuttle program, and for it to just be a normal day when they, let you go out, your class goes outside to watch the shuttle launch, and then you head back inside and keep doing what you're doing. It became very commonplace for us, and to this day, I do enjoy when the rockets are going off from Cape Canaveral. Again, it's not shuttles anymore, but you can still see them, and particularly at night. If you have a clear night, it's really cool and really pretty. Just stepping out outside of your house and watching it go up. Okay, the second to last thing is on my plate. I don't like my food touching for the most part. If it's meant to go together, then fine. If I purposely decide this is going together, but I do not like my food touching. I don't like condiments touching. I'm not going to lose my mind. If this is the case, I will just, I will eat it. But if I have the choice, if you're like, where should I put this ketchup? Not next to my other stuff. If you have but meat, like a chicken, a roast chicken, if it touches the peas, that's fine. But if the peas, I don't want the peas touching the bread sauce because I don't want bread sauce near my peas. So I have some quirks when it comes to food. I like to eat it. I also eat it separately. So if I have a roast dinner, for example, I choose the thing I like least and I eat that entire thing first. Then I go to the next thing, eat that entire thing first, next thing, entire thing first. I always leave the roast potatoes for last, obviously, but I do not mix and match the food on my plate as I'm eating it. I prefer to eat it separately. And the final thing that you didn't know about me, we were talking about internet history on Patreon the other day, and this made me think of my past screen names. I've had some doozies. My first one was KF Book Reader, because those are my initials and I like to read books. I also had one that was Dolphin Lover, because I love dolphins. Obviously. Those were more my childhood ones. When I was a teenager, I had a really cringy one, which I just remembered, and it was, I don't even know if I could admit this on the internet. It was Silent Noise. I don't know what that was supposed to mean. I was 16. I don't know if it was angsty. I don't know if it was supposed to be creative. I don't know what it was supposed to be. But it is cringy. And that was my screen name. I think I also had one called Twirl Girl, which was, I think, because I did figure skating. But again, I wasn't good enough to actually have this as my screen name. So that brings me to the end of my Things You Didn't Know About Me video, filmed lovingly from my floor. We will be back with more normal Girl Gone London content soon. So if you joined throughout this video, thank you very much for watching. And I'll see you guys next time. Okay, tricked you, because I was waiting to see if you would keep watching past, because most people would click off. So if you haven't clicked off and you watch to the end of all of my videos, which I really appreciate, we're gonna do two things. So I have a question and I have an informational segment. So my question is, do you have or do you remember any cringy screen names from back in the day when we all had to have like a screen name to log into things? Do you have any funny ones? Or even if it's not funny, just what was your like first, internet screen name? Comment that down below. And also, because you watched to the end of this video, and a lot of you watch all the time to the end of my videos, which I so appreciate. I know I've mentioned Patreon a lot in this video because some of these things I do talk about in my live streams, but I just wanted to give another info shout out to let you know what exactly it is. Patreon is separate from YouTube. I do separate live streams every week. We have a Discord server that we chat in. We have, I post different things than I post through YouTube. If you would like to be a part of that community, and it really is a community that I'm growing, it's not necessarily just me talking at the camera. We get a lot of engagement in the live chat. People are starting to know each other. It's really, really friendly. You can be a part of that. It's every week, and it's £5 on the lowest tier per month. So it's not super expensive. It's a way to support the channel. If you want to, you don't have to actively participate. You can lurk in the live streams if you want, but it's definitely a really, really friendly community. So if you would like to, if you're feeling like in your life you would like some more friendly community vibes, or just to see me kind of more behind the scenes instead of on YouTube, where I usually do something a little bit more put together than being on the floor, I make sure to check it out, because I really think that some of you would benefit from. Make sure to check it out. And anyway, thank you for watching and for sticking with me all the way to the actual end. Now I'm actually done. Have a wonderful week.